You know, in a normal world of wrestling, a lot of people would start watching SmackDown. I'm one of those people that decides, you know what, let's put that off to the side because I got an interview to do. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of The Game Changer. I'm, of course, your host, Nate the Effing Great, and I'm being joined here by a very special guest. He is indeed one of the founders and the host of Rant with Ant, and also has a big event coming up this weekend called Summer Rant. Be sure to tune into that and be sure to check it out, you guys. I am indeed joined by the one and only Mr. Anthony. How's it going, good sir?
It's going great, man. I'm so excited. These next 3 weeks are the biggest in my brand's history. We have the Summer Rant weekend coming up with us and the Wrestle Addict guys. So Kings of the Rings podcast, Demon Level, Issa, me, Phil, Who Got Next. Like, we're going to just have a giant party. And then 2 weeks after that, we're all in. We will be in Chicago as a part of StarCast on Podcast Row. So you talk about 3 weeks of excellent wrestling. That's what we're going to... Well, that's what's in store for us, I should say.
It is going to be quite a whirlwind of wrestling emotions going to be going through our minds and through our hearts, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get right into it. First thing first that I usually like to ask is, what got you interested in the world of professional wrestling? What got you just hooked on it, where you just said, you know what, I'm enjoying this, I'm watching this?
Well, there was 2 times. The first time was a steel cage match in 1990. It was Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude. My dad used to own a video store. We had the cassette tape, the Coliseum cassette tape. I popped it in, and I was enamored by it. And ever since, I was a wrestling fan. And I took a little break. I took a break during high school. I didn't think it was cool anymore. You know, you give a shit what people think during that time. And finally, I just didn't care anymore. And I was probably 2011, so I was about 21 or 22 years old. And, man, maybe 23 at that time. My brother-in-law used to watch wrestling, and, you know, Monday night he would have Raw on. I'd go over and have a couple Miller Lights, and I remember hearing Killswitch Engage, who's one of my favorite bands. Their music plays, and I'm like, yo, that's Killswitch. I love that song. And out walks CM Punk, and just captivated by that guy's character. And then the Shield came, and once the Shield came, I was diehard back into this thing. So if anyone ever wonders why Roman, Dean, and Seth are my guys, it's because without them, my show doesn't exist, our friendships don't exist, nothing exists, because those guys kept me in, because CM Punk brought me, but the Shield really made me fall in love with wrestling again.
So I guess you could honestly say, like, CM Punk was kind of the warm-up act, and the Shield just kind of sealed the deal for you.
Yeah, like, I liked the characters, so, like, it wasn't just like, oh, I love CM Punk and that's it, but CM Punk was the main reason I liked it, so he was my favorite, and I was like, why? What else can I look forward to? And then, you know, the Shield debuted, I think, 2012, late 2012, and I was just in love with it. I loved the idea. I remember one of my friends, even when I was outside of wrestling, not really a huge fan of it, my friend ran a promotion. I would go see it, and one of the guys that wrestled there was John Moxley. Mm-hmm. So Dean Ambrose was wrestling there, and I saw Dean wrestle, you know, in front of 200 people at CCW, at Force One Pro, and then all of a sudden, this guy makes his main roster debut by taking out Ryback. Or Cena. I don't know. He took out both, maybe. They took out everybody that first week. So I just fell in love, man. It was just, like, awesome to see, and it was something cool, and I was always a faction guy. Like, love the NWO, love DX, you know, always loved the groups, you know?
Yeah, there have been a lot of really good groups that have come and gone throughout the years, and there's been some very forgettable groups like the Spirit Squad, which, God help me, I was a part of that era, and that was painful. So when you had that weird little break going on, I guess I can understand why you took a break from it and thought, you know, this is not exactly cool, because I was one of those people that went through the whole male cheerleader deal, and it was like, wow, this is wrestling, this is what I have to do it. At least we got a DX reunion for about like a brief couple of years, but it wasn't as big.
Yeah, wrestling's weird. I mean, you have to go through the bad to get to the good sometimes, right?
Oh, definitely.
So, you know, everyone remembers the Attitude Era as this, like, amazing time, and yeah, it was, because it had great characters. But you forget some of the lower and mid-card stuff was terrible. You go back and watch it now, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah, then there's still some to this day where you're just kind of shaking your head or scratching it like, what? Why are we doing this? But then we also got great things like Andrade Cien Almas versus Rusev. It's like, okay, this is actually pretty damn good. Some people might say it's bad, but I'm kind of liking what they're doing with a lot of these guys. And plus, both of them could be future world champions. And that's, I think, what's missing in the world of professional wrestling today, is that they're so focused on these top guys that they need to remember there's other guys that should be branded as the future, like they did with NXT. And I'm hoping that's what happens with, guys like Rusev and Andrade Cien Almas. I always thought Bobby Roode would be one of those guys, but unfortunately, I think he's really been watered down way too hard. So
I'm not a Bobby Roode fan. I have really never been. It's nothing against Bob, it's nothing against him. I'm not a fan of that slower style, and some people are, and that's awesome. I respect all people's decisions. You're part of the community we kind of have. You're in the Patreon chat. You see, everyone supports their fan. I'm a Roman Reigns fan. I get more hate than anyone, you know what I mean? But At the end of the day, you like who you like. We're all adults, and if you're not an adult and you're a kid, you like who you like. And that's all that matters, is what makes you happy and what drives you happy and who you want to be champion. You got to get lost in it. Dean Ambrose came back last night as we're recording this, and Dean Ambrose is one of my favorites, and I couldn't go to bed for 2 hours because of the excitement level. That's what wrestling's about, man. You get lost. It's a mental escape. I know I dissect it weekly on my show, but I talk as a fan, and I talk about what I like and what I don't like, but I'll never judge someone for saying, hey, I like Bobby Roode. I think that's the stupidest thing about that, is if I go, oh, I like Roman Reigns, they're like, oh, you're wrong. It's well, you didn't even hear why I liked Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? I'm just wrong for liking something. That doesn't make sense to me.
Welcome to 2018, where you say one thing and it's always offensive.
Someone's offended by something you say.
Right. So, obviously, your love of wrestling evolved into you creating the Rant with Ants podcast. Tell us about, the genesis. How did this become to be, from an idea to this big deal that obviously is going to take hold, especially in All In a few weeks in Chicago?
Yeah, I remember, and I remember getting that email from StarCast asking us if we wanted to do it, and we were selected, and I remember crying because it's been a 3-year journey, man, and it started by one of my buddies was like, hey, me and my friends do a podcast. I'm like, what's a podcast? You know what I mean? I didn't know. He's like, yeah, we talk about wrestling or whatever. So they're talking about wrestling, and I'm in the chat, and I was like, oh, man, I would love to come on and be one of the co-hosts, Phoenix, who's one of my buddies. And G-Rod, who's one of my co-hosts, was the host of the Wrestle Addict. So that's where Wrestle Addict Radio comes in. The whole thing comes full circle. So I call in, and no one else is on the show. It's just G-Rod and I. G-Rod and I grew up in the same town, but at this time he's at California and I'm in New Jersey. We never met each other before doing this show. So we do the show, and afterwards he asks me, hey, do you want to stay on? So I'm like, absolutely, this was fun. I have no friends that talk wrestling. I would love to stay on and talk wrestling with you guys. So about 6 months later, Wrestle Addict's flourishing. We're growing as a brand, and I go, you know what I want to do? I want to do a show called Rant with Dan. It's me breaking down something for 8 to 10 minutes, or having people come on and ranting about what they dislike in pro wrestling. And he said, cool, let's do it. Rant with Dan happens for about a year. Then the New Age Insiders find me, and they say, hey, we're starting a network. We would like you to be one of the flagship shows. Would you like to come on? And I said, absolutely. I was with the NAI network for 2 amazing years. Those guys are awesome. They gave me every opportunity. But then I said, you know what? I want to try to do this on my own. I spend a lot of time here. I spend a lot in this studio, and I have a family. I have a career, and I need to know that I'm good enough by myself as a brand to make it on my own, and I'm not riding coattails. The last thing I want to do is just be someone who just is along for the ride, if that makes sense. I want to see if my hard work really paid off, you know? And we're here, and it was near WrestleMania weekend, and we've been on our own for about 3 or 4 months now. We added Phil about a year ago. Phil was a listener to the show. We met at a Nikki Bella signing afterwards, and my wife says that's how we fell in love, because that's my bromance is with Phil. And we literally talk every day, and he's such an amazing partner. He does the Who Got Next podcast. He does Rant with Ant with me, and he's such an amazing person to have on the feed, because he works as hard as me. And G-Rod has been here since day one, and he keeps working, and it's like we're finally hitting our stride, and we were able to survive on our own, and we did get nominated for an award, and we did get to be a part of All In, and the juice was worth the squeeze, if that makes any sense. All of it was worth it. It was 3 years of hard work. Times I wanted to give up, times I wanted to quit, but we didn't. And you get that sense of accomplishment. And not to mention, I measure success by the people I meet. And I literally have met 25 to 30 great friends that I consider friends through doing this, where, I'll be in their wedding, or they are in Cody Benoit's Uncle Cody to my daughter. And that's what matters to me most, is the relationships I build. So just through this, I've made the best friends. I've had the best times. I've been to 2 WrestleManias. I'm going to All In. I've been to 3 SummerSlams. I mean, you can't really complain about that.
No, not at all. It definitely sounds like throughout the 3 years you'd had so many different memories, so many different experiences. I'm guessing you've probably been to a lot of the accesses or special events where they have meet and greets and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm a figure collector. I collect WWE Elite figures, and I like getting them signed. I think I'm up to about 160 Elite figures.
Wow.
I got about 45 or 50 of them signed. Just Ember Moon, Cien, Sasha Banks, Bret Hart, X-Pac, AJ Styles, Jericho, Mysterio, Bayley. I'm just looking at my wall right now. Balor, Sting. I could just rattle them all off. But that's my hobby, is meet and greets. But I am personally someone. My favorite thing is when someone came up to me at Access, and this isn't like a big head thing. This is when someone goes, "Ant, I love your show," and they shake my hand, and I get to meet them. Because when I get to meet someone, it almost feels like it's opening a door to a relationship. And that's, Cody Benoit, I just mentioned him. He was in line for someone. I went walking by. He's like, "Yo, Ant, love your show." This was 2 years ago. "Love your show." I said, "Thanks, man. Let's take a picture." Took a picture. He came to the hangout, much like we're having at McMahon's this Sunday, but he came to the hangout, and we started talking and all, and then we started playing PlayStation together. And then this year at WrestleMania, a year after that, I roomed with Cody Benoit. So it's just by stopping me and saying hi, we opened up this relationship and this friendship that we never would have if it wasn't for professional wrestling or for me doing what I do.
Like you said before, wrestling is a crazy and unique thing because it can just open up, as you said, a lot of relationships to people that maybe share the same opinion as you, or they have a difference of opinion in which possibly they may have a decision that they think, well, I'm right about this because of this. It's not just, as you said before, I hate this guy. Okay, well, why? Well, I just hate him. It's You're actually meeting people who actually have legitimate deals. And I think
this is my disconnect with Roman Reigns. And I go, "Oh, cool, I never thought about it like this, but this is why I like what you think's a disconnect." And they go, "Oh, cool, I never thought of that." And it's we're having adult conversations.
It's kind of like you're generating the negatives from that. You're like, okay, I'm turning this into a positive because now I have a better perspective as to why people hate this guy, why people hate Roman Reigns, although people can name a lot of things. And I'm with you on the Roman Reigns fan bandwagon. I'm loving what he's doing right now. I think some of his stuff is stale, his promo skills are kind of the same thing, but I know that he's one of those guys who is indeed truly athletic. He's definitely one of those guys that can take this company to the next level, but what they're doing with him is just so sadly rubs you just the wrong way.
It's you're coming down in the same stuff you wore and in the Shield with the same music, and it's everyone evolved. Dean Ambrose came back jacked as all hell. And he had even that little thing where he cut his hair. It's wow, Dean Ambrose looks different. Dean Ambrose had a character shift. Seth Rollins has went through many characters. He went from the Kingslayer to the Architect to the Kingslayer to Burn It Down. And it's but Roman Reigns has still been Roman Reigns. And I like Roman. And I think his promo ability has gotten better where he's not stuttering. He doesn't let the crowd affect it. But I do understand when people go, well, it's the same promo. Well, it is. It is the same promo. And he's not going to be John Cena on the microphone. I really don't think anyone can be John Cena on the microphone. But when Roman gets a little bit of fire under him is when he's at his best. And if you listen to this guy in interviews, right, where he's not Roman Reigns, he's Joe, and he's just doing a podcast, the Jericho podcast or ESPN, that guy's amazing, and he has so much charisma, but WWE buries him between scripted lines.
Yeah, that's always one of the worst things, is that you think that they have a little more freedom, but then you see what they're being delivered. It's okay, I guess, yay, somewhat, but you also know that they have so much more potential. But then again, not everybody can be, as you said, a John Cena. Not everybody can be CM Punk. Nobody can be Nature Boy Ric Flair. And that's fine. I'd much rather have a first superstar of their kind than have the next, the next Rock, the next Hogan, the next person. It's like you're setting a bar that's way too high for them. Let them be a part of their own, league. Let them be a part of their own bar.
Yep. Yeah, and that's just, that's pro wrestling for you. Sometimes I don't like complaining too much about pro wrestling because I love it so much. But I feel like right now they're at a time where they have too much talent and they don't know what the hell to do with it. I think that's the problem right now. Is they're signing all these guys, but now look, like you said, Bobby Roode, who was a former NXT champion, he's running around the lower mid card.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do indeed find ways to actually incorporate some of these new guys, because I know that there's so many people who are like, oh man, I would love to see Aleister Black on the main roster. I'd like to see Johnny Gargano.
Where does he fit? Where does Gargano fit? And it's like, that's why NXT needs to become a third. And it is, but it needs to become like a powerful third. Like that needs to go on FS1, Fox Sports 1. It needs to be a third brand. And don't be afraid to put Tyler Breeze back down there. You know what I mean? It's not a demotion. It's another product. It's another brand.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, whenever I see a lot of NXT guys, battling against each other, like last night we had Baron Corbin versus Tyler Breeze, there was still a bit of that nostalgia NXT feel for me where it's like, man, these guys used to fight NXT. This is pretty awesome. Did they even fight NXT? I don't know. It's still pretty awesome. And you kind of see how they have evolved since then. And, I mean, Baron Corbin was just kind of like this badass guy with motorcycle music, and now he's got even better music, and he has probably one of the best gimmicks in the Constable.
Constable Corbin to come out with like 1990s pop music because he dresses like a waiter, and that's usually what they play at like Applebee's. So if you gave him some like Breakfast at Tiffany's like song, and I said, what about? And he comes rolling out. You're like, oh, there. And it's not the Constable. Now he's the server, Baron Corbin. I just think it makes more sense.
Well, I mean, he is serving things to Kurt Angle on behalf of Stephanie McMahon, so I guess that's how it works.
Kurt Angle, I love Kurt, but that whole GM gimmick is totally... The guy just can't act, and I don't know what happened to him, because like back in the day he was hilarious, but like his fake phone calls are so bad. They're like, hey, yeah, I'm here. Cool. Yeah. The match? Oh, it's on. And it's like, okay, dude, no one talks like that. You know what I mean? Just have a real conversation. Like, at least call your wife and just make up like a thing where you're actually having a real conversation, so you're not pausing for 2 seconds. Like, he's like, hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I'm calling you. And it's like, okay, you're taking 2-second pauses. You're not even letting someone talk.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's almost like he's trying to audition for like the new Sprint guy, where he's being like, "Can you hear me now?" He just looks at the camera, big smile.
The Sprint guy jumped to Verizon, so Verizon's looking, and Kurt Angle's failing horribly right now.
But we also talk a bit about Monday Night Raw, some of the things that happened, whether it was off screen or on screen. One thing that actually happened, I don't know if you got a chance to see this story of Ronda Rousey actually getting freaked out because there was actually a bat in the arena. So,
I did, yeah.
Jeez Louise, and I even saw pictures of it, saw the video of it. I'm like, oh, well then.
I see. I don't blame her. Like, Ronda is a bad woman. She will whoop ass. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time we had fruit bats where I grew up, and we would be in the pool at like 7 o'clock at night, and they'd come out, and the bastards would swoop down at your head. I do not mess with bats, dude. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. It's a bat, man. You don't know what the hell they have. Like, I would have got out of Dodge, too. But she just stood there, and she just kind of went, oh, my God, a
bat. She did her impression of Kurt Angle, the robot deal, where she's like, oh, my God, a bat. Yeah, whatever. I'm on the phone. But she's still at least look professional about it, which, honestly, I think a lot of people were definitely not expecting Ronda Rousey to be as big a star as she is now. I think some people were thinking, oh great, here comes another UFC person to basically hug the glory, and she's not going to be that good. By far, since WrestleMania, she has actually not disappointed me. I don't know if you feel the same way about that, but
I'm a huge Ronda fan. I think right now, she has adapted quicker than almost any man or woman to this character, where you didn't know, like, she didn't have a match, and then she goes in at WrestleMania and she kills it, and you're like, oh my god, she's good. And then they're booking her right. They're booking her like almost like a female Stone Cold Steve Austin. But why is it believable? Because she has legitimately knocked out people and broke people's arms. So they're treating her the right way. But then you see her in the ring. She throws these fists that look like they're hitting, and they might be hitting a little bit, but she has the most real-looking punches in the business right now. And I'm not even kidding, because I see her, when I saw her like square up Alicia Fox, I was like, holy shit, she's hitting her. And Alicia was fine. And you're like, she's safe, but she's snug. And I just think her tempo is good. Her promos are getting better. I've been super impressed by her, and I want her to stay as long as she wants.
I am hoping for the same thing, too. And I know that they're trying to build up a main event match for WrestleMania between her and Charlotte, which that just spells money right there. That has
the main event. I mean, if you're looking for a women's main event, you will never get two bigger stars than Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey.
It just absolutely just says to me, yes, please. Just we're enjoying the fact that we're getting something actually quite amazing. And sorry if I get distracted, you guys, because I have Rant on Skype, but I also have all these notifications from Twitter about SmackDown, and also even from, as you mentioned, at the Patreon for Rant with It. There's so many people that are just saying like this. And I loved one of the conversations that somebody had where I literally was just like, wow, I love how you just like dissected this, but I also hate you for this, where he said, well, TJP defeated Ibushi defeated Okada, and blah, 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 and then he basically...
So is TJP better than Kenny Omega? And you're like, no, look out of here. Get out. I don't know if I can curse, but I'm sorry.
It was one of those things where it just finally ends up with him just saying, TJP could beat Andre the Giant. I'm like, I don't know what kind of drugs you're on, dude, but this is like, this is one of those conversations where it's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, I hate you for this, because you're making these comparisons. It's I'm trying to figure out what the term is, but it's one of those things where they try to make like a transition into something where it's like, this person beat this person, so therefore, in the end, Eva Marie is better than Trish Stratus. I'm like, I hate you. Why would you... What? I know we try not to, bash on people who have legitimate claims, but at the same time, when you have that kind of a claim, it's like...
Oh, no, that's just jokes. No, that's the thing. Like, that's funny because you read it and you laugh. You're like, this guy really doesn't think TJP is... I mean, some Twitter stands might, and that's the scary thing. But, like, most of the people in our chat are just messing, and I love that. I love that people joke, and I love that, I get shit about Roman all the time, and I know that it's coming from a good place, and, that's the fun thing, is, like, you have this community where everyone can have an opinion and everyone can joke, but, like, if someone came at one of us, we'd all be like, no, that's not happening, and attack them, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I really do like that about your show, Rant with Ed, because you definitely do have a lot of, at least, valid opinions about wrestlers and everything like that, as well as wrestling-related topics. And one thing that I enjoyed, and I'm hoping gets to be a recurring thing, was you did this thing with Demon Diva called Wrestling Court, which was...
That will be coming back later this month. After SummerSlam, we are going to sit down and record one. So that is a monthly show on the Rant with Ed feed, so it will be making a comeback.
Oh my gosh, that was legitimately one of the best episodes that I've heard on a podcast, because you guys talked a lot about, Brock Lesnar. Is he helping the business? Is he hurting the business? And it also kind of boils down, again, I know I'm just boomeranging around this idea that, you have valid points, you make a good argument, but when you have one valid point of, well, Brock Lesnar's there to create a moment, that's like, yeah, so are these other guys, but some of them could actually create more than just one moment. I mean, Roman Reigns, he's created more moments than Brock Lesnar has in basically his entire career. Some people might disagree with that. I say, look at his resume right now. He debuted with the Shield, had a dominant run with the Shield. He had some pretty good matches between Sheamus, Triple H, AJ Styles, and honestly, his match with Cena was another great one. That promo after WrestleMania 30, I think it was 32? 33, thank you.
Yep.
Where he basically came out and just let the crowd just, hey, just boo me, whatever, and then he just says, this is my yard. That was a moment where I'm like, yes, this is where we finally start to see Roman Reigns get into that realm of being just a badass, not even caring about people. And I love he still does that every now and then, where he's just like, you know what, if you just shut your mouths, I got something to say. That's what I kind of like Roman being as a tweeter.
That's what he needs. He doesn't need to be bad or good. He just let him be a renegade. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. People are going to, my biggest thing is, everyone who hates Roman Reigns, they never go, he sucks at wrestling. They say he needs a character change. So when he turns heel, all the people that are booing Roman Reigns and saying they wish he would retire are all going to be fans of him.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody would want. It's like,
they want to like him. I think they like him, but they don't want to admit they like him, so they have to turn him heel so they can admit they like him. When I'm not someone who follows anybody. I'm my own man, and I like what I like. Nikki Bella is one of my favorite wrestlers. Not many people like Nikki Bella. That's perfectly fine. Actually, a lot of people like her because her autograph session at SummerSlam sold out in like 20 minutes. But I try to get tickets. But like, I understand when people are like, I don't like Nikki Bella. Okay, cool, but I do. So I'm not a kid. You're not going to sway my opinion. You know, you call me names, I've been called worse by better people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that is always a better thing. It's like, you know, there could be like one person who says one thing bad about you, but if you have like 100 people that say one good thing about you, then where do you think people are going to listen to? Some will take that one person's, you know, comment into perspective, but a lot of people decide, you know what, I'm just going to listen to these people. I'm going to hang out with these people here, and you just stay in your, you know, dreary, dark, comment-filled, you know, hate section here. I will say this, that as far as like Nikki Bella goes, this is actually kind of a funny story. A few years ago when I was doing the podcasting on my own, I did like one on my own, one with a group, and then back to kind of on my own, but bringing people into this. I actually had a moment where I think it was the build-up to the Night of Champions after SummerSlam, and something that happened was that the Bella Twins actually followed me on Twitter for like one full week. And
you're so lucky.
I don't feel lucky because the amount of hate that I got from the Bella Nation was
crazy.
Oh, man.
We had a video go viral because I'm a Nikki Bella mark. Like, literally, I have a whole wall in my studio, and it's not creepy. Like, I'm not like a creepy mark where I'm stalking her. Like, she's legit one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So I collect. So I have like a wall of her figures autographed, and I have pictures of when I met them because that's my favorite. Just like I have a whole wall for Owen Hart, who's my favorite of all time. And it was funny because so my buddy Phil, the co-host of Rant with me, Nikki comes out during the Royal Rumble. He films my reaction, and I'm standing on the top of a chair just yelling, like going absolutely batshit crazy. And it gets like 35,000 views, and people are like, I bet you he doesn't have a wife. And like, my wife's smoking hot. I'm not, like I said, I've been called worse by better people. I'm not going to let your words hit me. It's like, but like, I had the flu the day after Royal Rumble. I came down with the flu. My wife and my kid had to get out of my house because I had like that strain B, which was like killing people.
Oh,
so I had the flu after the Royal Rumble, and I'm in bed. And I'm like, whatever, like I'm going to bed. And all of a sudden I wake up to like 650 notifications, like 2 hours later. Some dude was like, saying, like, talking shit, like a grown man cheering for Nikki Bella, blah, 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 blah. And Nikki Bella, like, snapped back at him. And then, like, literally 500 people were just going in on this dude. I kind of felt bad for him. But I'm like, yo, Nikki Bella stuck up for me. She liked it. She retweeted it. She said she loved the video. I'm golden. Like, I don't feel that sick anymore.
Well, I mean, if one of the Bella Twins likes it, then, you know, you did something right, obviously. It's one of those things where a lot of people do that. They do, like, those fan reactions, and either some people like them, some people don't. Or there's just...
Like, that was a real reaction. Like, I wasn't filming, I wasn't filming expecting that. Phil was filming me because he wanted to get my legit reaction, but I didn't turn that on for the camera. Like, that's how I act. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even care that I was being filmed when I heard, you can look, but you can't touch. I just went into full mark-out mode.
Mark-out mode! Oh, God,
yeah.
No. I'm getting that song out of my head right away, but it's going to come back.
The Bree song's terrible.
I think that... I think that there's so many cats around the world that are just thankful that that song is no longer even around.
The Bree like, oh God, it's just cringeworthy.
I just repeatedly hit my head on a chair until I just can't hear anymore. That's like I can't hear anything anymore, but at least I don't have to hear that song again. Thank God. Oh man. So let me ask you this: what were your general thoughts about the big announcement that was made a few weeks ago that WWE is going to be hosting their first ever all-women's pay-per-view in WWE Evolution on October 29th, I believe it is.
I love it. I love it. I don't think it wasn't earned. I don't think they're just doing this because they want to do the next thing. I think the women earned it. I think they deserve it. They've been a constant. Everything that they've gotten thrown at them, ladder matches, Royal Rumbles, Hell in a Cells, they've always went above and beyond. And I believe the women's division is probably the most consistent division that there's been in the last year and a half. And they earn it. And the then, now, and forever, I love it because I probably get to see the Bellas versus the Iconics. And maybe you see Sasha and Bayley versus Trish and Lita. And, you get all these matches, and then you get to see the young talent, Kairi Sane, Toni Storm, all the up-and-comers, where you're like, this is what it's about. Because I have a 4-year-old daughter, and my daughter sits down, and she likes the male wrestlers. She loves AJ Styles. It's probably her favorite. But when Alexa Bliss comes out, she gets really excited because that is a female kicking butt. You know what I mean? And she doesn't understand the whole thing of it. She just knows that is a girl, and she just won a match, and that is cool to her. So that's what it's about, man. It's about inspiring the future, and hopefully maybe one day my daughter goes, hey, Dad, I want to be a wrestler.
And, it's also kind of crazy because with a girl of Alexa Bliss's size, it's probably one of those things that a lot of girls, her size would basically think, if she could do this, I could probably do this. Because, honestly, you look back at so many of the moments that she had, especially in NXT, some people were just thinking, like, well, she's kind of petite, she's kind of small, she's probably not going to be anything special when going to the main roster. And then you look at it years later, it's like, well, now she's a 5-time women's champion. So, to those people, it's like, yeah, not bad for somebody that was just in NXT, just being a manager, huh?
Yeah, but that's the thing, that and look at both champions right now, and I know Phil's the diehard Carmella, so Phil feels how I feel about Nikki about Carmella. But it's like, look at the two champions right now and tell me that you didn't overlook them when they were drafted to the roster, because we all did. Because they were just valets we saw them as. Oh, that's just Enzo and Cass's manager. Oh, that's just Blake and Murphy's manager. Now they're both the women's champion. And, that comes from hard work. You have to be able to cut a promo. Carmella is a great promo. I don't care what anyone says, because people go, I hate hearing her talk. And you go, well, exactly, you're supposed to. You're not supposed to like when a heel opens their mouth. Vicky Guerrero was the best at that. Everyone's like, oh, that excuse me is so annoying. Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah, she is definitely one of those people that I can look back on and just say, you know what? She was a great heel, but she turned immediate face in a matter of one night, and that was just amazing. As soon as she said the name Guerrero, I was like, yes, she's fully faced with me. I don't care what anybody says. But then, of course, we see her back as a heel. I think, was it earlier this year?
With Edge and with Ziggler, you know what I mean? And
oh, man. Oh, jeez. The way that Edge just basically addressed the whole thing before divorcing her, that was one of those things where it's like, oh, come on. She deserves so much better. Come on, Edge. Just, no. Come on. Come on. She's still a woman. I know I hate her, but she's still a woman. Come on. Just cut some slack. But then Edge is a Hall of Famer, so it's like, okay, he can get away with it. So.
Yeah, Edge is man. And him and Vicky are really close friends. And I know, because I listen to Edge and Christian podcast. I love that show.
Yeah, I'm always very surprised that when a lot of people who leave WWE, they could either, just try and capitalize on the fame, or they try to, just keep doing what they were doing. They could all be like Ryback, who just decides, you know what, I'm going to keep my name, so I'm going to legally change my name from Ryan Reeves to just Ryback, and just try to keep getting money, and obviously that's not working well for him. Well, there might be stupider, but we could go on hours and hours upon stupid names.
Meta World Peace. That's stupid. Stupid name. Ocho Cinco. That's a stupid name. Stupid.
Oh, man. What about Isaac Yankem?
Yeah, but Glenn Jacobs never changed his name to Isaac Yankem.
That is true. That is fair.
So, it's stupid when you make it your name. Obviously, the Red Rooster's a stupid name. Giant Gonzalez is a stupid name, but at least it's not like Kane wasn't like, you know what, I'm going to change my name to Kane. Mark Calloway doesn't walk around and go, hey, the name's Undertaker. No, it's like Mark Calloway, dude. You know what I mean? You're trying to change your name to make money, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my legal name to Rant with Ant. That's dumb.
Just with nostalgia. Oh man, that'd be making some wrestling headlines. I'm sure about that. But
Stone Cold changing his last name to Austin to be Steve Austin, that makes sense. Okay, you're Steve Austin. It's not a stupid name.
well, I think his real last name, isn't it like Steve Williams or something like that?
Yeah. Can you imagine if like Big E changed his name to Biggie Langston? Stop. Stupid name.
Oh my god! And people are just asking, "What's the E stand for?" And he's just like, "You don't want to know."
Yeah, right.
And he just slaps him with pancakes. Why not?
Oh, yes. Okay.
So maybe just to ask a stupid question, but are you team pancakes, team flapjacks, or team waffle?
Well, so the inside joke is that when we went to Waffle House in New Orleans, Nick ate waffles with his bare hands, and it freaked me out. No syrup, no butter, nothing. Just ate the fucking dough or whatever it is with his bare hands. So I'm going to go team pancakes. That really scarred me.
Did he by chance ever like just hold up his hands and just be like, "Get these hands"?
Well, that was the joke the whole time. So it's like 3 a.m. after WrestleMania, and me and Cody and him are sitting there, and I'm like, this waffle's about to get these hands. You know what I mean? Just like all the Braun puns. We had so much. I mean, what a great trip that was.
Oh man. Well, earlier you did mention a lot about Wrestle Addict Radio, and I think there's some people that might be familiar about this, but why don't you familiarize some of the fans that are not familiar? What exactly is Wrestle Addict Radio?
So, I wanted to start my own little community of podcasts, reaching for a goal, trying to reach success, and, I was going to call it the Rant with Ant Podcast Network, and I'm like, I want to be Rant with Ant. That's the whole reason, I want to be self-identified as Rant with Ant. That's what I want my show to be called. Who Got Next is kind of Rant with Ant because Phil is part of Rant with Ant. So it's like, okay. So, what am I going to call it? And then I thought about it, and I said, why don't I kick it back to where it all started? Wrestle Addict, without Wrestle Addict, there's no Rant with Ant. So why don't I give back and make Wrestle Addict Radio? And try to cover everything. So I got the Kings of the Rings podcast. Those guys are fucking amazing. I love them. So much fun. They will be at Summer Rant. I got Mark out with Martin. Martin is from Scotland, doing a show about the UK wrestling scene. I don't think many people have that, but we do. We have the Shoot Style podcast, where Mance Chappell, a reverend, and Maddie Wilson, an openly bisexual man from the UK, do a show together, and they are the best of friends, and it just shows you unity, and it shows you how crazy it is when people with two views are friends. Literally, they talked about Randy Orton's penis for about 25 minutes on today's episode, so it was ridiculous. Another show we have is the Gift of Podcast, where Mance Chappell breaks down, who's also the host of Shoot Style. He breaks down just a PG version of the Week in Wrestling. It's a family-friendly show, which I don't think a lot of people do. I know I don't. And then we have Smash's podcast, which is on rantwithant.com, which is video content where Jay Boone breaks down TNA every single week.
Well, it's good to know that at least there's one person that's like, hey, let's give Impact a little bit of a chance. So at least I can give him that.
It's like the Avengers.
So which one of you guys is Captain America? Which one is Iron Man?
I'm Iron Man, definitely. Phil will tell you I'm Iron Man, but it's weird because Phil will be like, "And you're Iron Man," and then his next tweet will be like, "I fucking hate Iron Man." I'm like, "Yo, what? You just called me Iron Man. I thought you were your best friend, asshole."
Jesus. Oh man, he must have just saw Civil War and just be like, "God, I hate Iron Man right now."
He's a diehard Captain America fan. He's got Captain America tattooed on his arm, so I get you.
Okay.
He just doesn't. But he said I'm like Tony Stark because I like the finer things in life. Me and my wife go out to fancy restaurants. I care about fashion, and it's true. It is, and I can say it. It might come off douchey to some people, but I'd rather eat an $80 steak than go out and get shit-faced hammered. It's just what I'd rather do.
Hey, there's always got to be the classy one in the group, and obviously in your group you seem to be that one.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny because Phil doesn't drink. So Summer Rant weekend last year, I was blacked out. I missed Adam Cole's debut because I was outside the Barclays throwing up. So this year, we asked whose turn it's going to be, and I think it's going to be Will from Kings of the Rings podcast. I think it's going to be his turn. I think he's going to be the one who's blacked out. Every year it's somebody,
Oh, man. I will say this, that they were the ones that really got me into listening to you guys. If you listen to, I think, one of the recent episodes, I talked about going to All In, And that's when King Ricky mentioned you guys. And I thought, okay, well, I should also give these guys a listen, see what they have to say. And honestly, no point of disappointment at all have I had to listen to any one of your guys' episodes, because, like I said, you guys bring up some really good conversations. You bring up some good arguments. It's absolutely amazing. So, guys, if you haven't gotten a chance, go check out Rant with Ant stuff. It's absolutely fun. And also check out the rest of Wrestle Addict Radio, because it's a lot of great stuff. But let's talk about this weekend. Obviously, it's SummerSlam weekend. They got XT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. They got SummerSlam going on. But you also have Summer Rant going on. So what exactly is going on with that? And tell us a little bit about what the fans can expect.
So, Summer Rant weekend is just we do these hangouts so we can meet people and become friends with them and join the community and grow the community, so everyone has a place to feel welcomed. And that's what the whole Summer Rant weekend is about. So Saturday at McMahon's before NXT, we do a hangout hosted by Nick and Phil. It's called the We Are Next Hangout, kind of a play on Who Got Next. They will be hosting it, but the Kings of the Rings will be there, East will be there, I will be there, and a bunch of listeners will be there. We'll be just sitting there talking about wrestling, catching up, getting to know each other, and just having drinks and being social. And I know a lot of fans have social anxiety about meeting people, and I think this helps cure it, because you talk to me on Twitter, and I'm very welcoming, and our group's very welcoming, and I think that goes a long way with wrestling fans. Then we go over to NXT, obviously, and then Sunday, if you're a Patreon of Rant with It, you can come into the hotel room as we do the pre-show, with the Kings of the Rings doing the pre-show. We're doing the show with me, Nick, Phil, Issa. Kings of the Rings will be on that, as well as the Patreons will give their predictions. Then we're going to head over to McMahon's, again, from 2 to 5. Then we're going to go over to SummerSlam. So the McMahon's thing, where we go out to the bar and it's Summer Rant weekend, it's literally just come meet us, let's make a relationship, let's have so much fun together, and let's remember why we love pro wrestling.
So it's literally almost like you're the podcast version of Elite, where you guys are going out, you're interacting with fans. You're not just being those people who are like, oh, well, yeah, you can see us, but you got to pay us to, do that.
I get so weirded out when I've gotten asked for autographs, and I've literally said, no. And not to be a dick, you know what I mean? I'm just a fan who talks about wrestling. If people want to take a picture with me, that's fine. I'll never big shot someone and say no, but I'd rather if you want to take a picture, cool. My favorite thing is when people come up to me and, go, hey, Ant, I'm a fan of the show. And I go, yeah, you want to grab a drink? And we have a drink and we talk, and I get to know them, and I get to know my listeners, and they get to know the man behind the mic. And I think that's really what's the most important. Autographs weird me out because I'm not important. I know some people think our show's great, and I love the support, but I'd rather have a firm handshake, a picture, and let's have a beer. You know what I mean? Let's create a relationship. Let's create a memory. And I don't believe in charging people, and I don't believe in. I don't know. I just don't think that I'm the talent. I talk about the talent. The wrestlers aren't the talent. I'm just there talking about it. And I want everyone to feel welcome. And it might be a cliche answer, but anyone who never met me will tell you that it's not a lie. I definitely love meeting people. It's my favorite thing. It's really my favorite thing to do about SummerSlam weekend. I look more forward to the interaction with people that I've talked to on Twitter face to face than the wrestling card itself. And I love pro wrestling, so it says a lot.
Yeah, I always love talking to you guys because it's absolutely amazing, the stories that you have and the kind of people that you are. It's really, really cool. I think that the only person I probably had a bad interaction with was, I think I would have to say it was basically probably your designated driver was probably Will. And I'm not saying I hate him or anything like that. Will, if you listen to this, I love the podcast that we did, but I just also know that he had some things where he just saying, Get Out was just a horrible movie, or Wonder Woman was just dumb, and I'm just kind of holding everything back. I'm I love these movies. Why are you doing this to me, man? Don't let this be the last time you're on my podcast, dude. But I also respect the opinion that he has, where at least he has, a reason behind it. It's just one of those things where, you still have that nostalgia where you're just I respect your opinion, but right now it just means diddly squat to me right now. But, obviously, you guys, there's a lot going on this weekend, and of course, in a couple weeks, we'll be all in Chicago. There's a lot of people that have already been announced, a lot of matches that have already been gone down. I mean, geez Louise, we're getting Cody Rhodes versus Magnus. I'm refusing to call him anything besides that.
Yeah, right?
I don't know why, but it's just Magnus is a name that just fits him. And the fact it's for the NWA title, some people are like, "Oh, that title should have died years ago." I'm like, dude, I still respect the NWA title. Are you kidding me?
And if Cody Rhodes gets it, it's the title that his dad had. So it's like, how can you disrespect that title?
Oh my gosh, I just imagine the roof just exploding off the arena, and also people just crying like, "Oh my gosh, this is an homage to Dusty Rhodes." That would just be absolutely amazing. Some people that have actually been announced have been, I think that they've already announced. Demon Bunny, a.k.a. Rosemary, and Allie are going to be a part of that. They got Marty Scurll involved, Young Bucks. They got so many great people that are going to be wrestling there. But yeah, you mentioned some of the ways that you mentioned that you're going to be a part of the Starcade podcast deal.
Starcast is part of Podcast Row.
Okay, so is there going to be like a designated area that they're going to find you, or are you going to be like right off the bat find?
We're going to be right near the meet and greet. So wherever you can meet a wrestler, you'll see us. And we have banners, we have signage. You'll see Rant with Ant. You'll see wearing a Rant with Ant polo. You'll see me. And if you do, don't hesitate to come up and say hi. I would love to meet every single one of you, give you a keychain. We're giving out keychains. So come get a Rant with Ant keychain. Come subscribe to our show and come be a part of this community. Nate will tell you how much fun we just have in our Patreon chat alone. It really takes that. Twitter's a very scary place sometimes, and it takes that fear away from Twitter, and it takes that power away from negative Twitter to affect people's opinions when you're in a chat like ours where you can just have fun. You just be yourself and not get judged.
That is one of the most beautiful things that you could do. So definitely, guys, go check them out on their Patreon. And what are some other ways that they can find you on either social media or places that they can look you up to see where your podcast is?
Yeah, you can follow us at Rant with Ant on all social media platforms. Go to iTunes or Google Play, Spotify coming soon, and subscribe to Rant with Ant. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Wrestle Addict Radio. If you want written articles, go to rantwithant.com. You'll find every single show we do, video content, articles, and more. If you want to beat a brand, go to represent.com /store/Rant with Ant and go pick up some merchandise. We have some Chicago shirts for a limited time. We have tons of new merch coming out as we pull designs down. And like Nate said, patreon.com /Rant with Ant for exclusive audio, video, and chat. And we do giveaways, so we have a lot of fun. Come be the brand, come be part of this community, because Rant with Ant's not just Anthony and Stefano. Rant with Ant is all of us.
Definitely, guys. And before we head out, I think I want to kind of end it on a bit of an unusual note, but at the same time, this might be a big topic that needs to be discussed. So I got to ask you this, Mr. Rant with Ant. Big question. Do you prefer New York-style pizza or Chicago deep dish pizza?
I've never eaten Chicago pizza.
Really?
Until then, I will say New York by proxy. The first thing I'm doing when we get into Chicago is grabbing a pizza. And if you're a Patreon, Friday night, come out. We're going to all grab pizza together.
Very nice, very nice. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to end this edition of The Game Changer. So for Rant with Ant, I have been Nate the Effing Great. This has been The Game Changer. Thank you so much for joining here. Summer Bash is just going to continue to get better and better. It's all going to conclude at All In Chicago in just a few short weeks. So talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Enjoy SummerSlam week. Bye-bye.
Tell me what you want, what you like, it's okay. I'm a little curious too. Tell me if it's wrong, if it's right, I don't care. I can keep a secret, kid. You got my mind on your body and your body on my mind. Got a taste for the cherry, I just need to take a bite. Don't tell your mother, kiss one another, die for each other. We're cool for the summer. Take me down.